Yeah.
Do you have a view on demand and what you think is going to happen this coming year?
Yeah. So, as a trade house guy, we don't have great views on demand. Our
Hmm.
clients have great views on demand because they actually sell the coffee to the consumer and know what the
Sure.
real demand is. So we have to work with a terminology called disappearance, where we look at how much coffee is getting exported, how much coffee is getting imported, what are the change in stocks, and then kind of back into what that means for what we call disappearance and use that as a proxy for demand. But
Yeah.
if a warehouse owned by a roaster goes from having 100,000 bags to 200,000 bags, and it's not publicly reported, that for us becomes disappearance. So we go, ooh, demand is good
Hmm.
because more coffee has gone and shipped, but didn't show up in the stock data. But then if they go from 200,000 to 100,000 and exports are lower and stocks are still the same, we go, ooh, demand is getting hurt. So that muddles the water a little bit. So for us, 18, 19 have been extraordinary. Disappearance was on fire. Our view is that it was probably largely driven by pipeline enlargement by roasters as well as very solid demand. COVID hit, and obviously demand took a hit. We came down. Some people attacked me for saying that I didn't think demand was so horrible or so bad. We think it was less than 2%
Hmm.
lower due to actual demand because of COVID. So yeah, it was a hit, but it wasn't like at the beginning of COVID, people were like, oh, it could be 10% down or, really
Yeah.
pretty large figures. But now we feel it's gone to a lower base. So our base case for the 2021 balance sheet was that we'd see some recovery, some actual increase, not huge, but a little bit of increase in demand. Today, that was kind of our thought, let's say, going back to last year. Today, the lockdowns have gotten probably worse in Europe than we expected during December and January.
Yeah.
A lot of the European cities have either been on lockdown or restaurants and bars and things like that are closed. We're still not traveling as much. So where you sit probably has an impact on your view of the world. If I sat in a place that was buzzing, probably I'd have a different view.
Yeah.
But I guess we need to modify that probably a little bit lower. Having said that, I am extremely bullish demand for the second half of this year.
Hmm.
And that's a very personal thing because I know that I have not traveled now for about 11 months. I haven't been able to regularly go to restaurants for probably 6 months.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to see friends. I haven't been able to see family. So I've got a lot of pent up spending to be done. And I save money like most people. So,
Yeah.
I'm ready to travel. I'm ready to eat out. I'm ready to go see friends. I'm ready to,
There's a
hit the
lot of
bars with
weddings
my
that are going to start
buddies,
happening, I bet.
weddings, and I need to see family. And so I just think that we're getting through this vaccine thing. And it started off with hiccups, as any large scale logistical campaign will happen. But I think governments are going to start getting it figured out. There's obviously a renewed focus in the United States on it. And I think the number game is going to shift from how many new cases of COVID are there, how many deaths are there, to how many vaccines have been given by country.
Sure.
There's already, of course, like a Bloomberg tracker of vaccines and others, but I think that's going to start being the main headline we're going to be reading. It's like US hits 50 million vaccinations, UK hits 20 million vaccinations, Brazil hits 10 million
Hmm.
vaccinations, and it's going to be those milestones of how many people are getting vaccinated. And I think as we get through that population and the people who are most vulnerable are vaccinated, we're going to start feeling as a society we can open up more. And as we start to open up more, then I think that pent up spending, travel, everything's going to happen. And I think that's going to be a huge plus for
For
coffee
demand.
demand.
Absolutely.
So
Well,
I am bullish in the second half of the year on demand.